we have here?
A one-man submarine.
Wow.
I wanted to get 25 grand.
You do realize we're in the middle of a desert, right?
Looking to sell some of this fractional currency.
Looks like Monopoly money to me.
No, not Monopoly money. They're worth something.
Hey, old man, this guy's trying to sell us Monopoly money. You better come take a look at it.
Oh, God. Chumley.
A seller strolls in with World War II novelty matches mocking Hitler, and Rick is instantly amused. The packs are unstruck with bomb-shaped match heads and slogans like, "Strike a match on Hitler's britches." Rick explains wartime humor kept spirits up for families with loved ones overseas. These are impulse display material if the price is right. The seller floats a target near 100. Rick's gearing up for a quick haggle.
My stepdad actually had them in his garage.
I usually don't take Hitler stuff, but
They're just mocking Hitler on the matches, that's
okay.
all.
You can put your friends in stitches, strike a match on Hitler's britches. And they're all in here?
They're all in there. 10 individual packs.
Rick keeps it light but practical. Novelty war items were everywhere, and value lives in condition and curb appeal. He confirms all 10 little booklets are intact and unused, then walks through his margin math. Funny sells, but only at a low sticker. The seller pushes, Rick anchors low, feeling out resistance while the old man watches like a hawk from the rail.
Keep that, it might be worth something one day.
Right.
You think Hitler got a box of these?
You know what? I think there would be a problem during World War II if someone went down to the post office and made a little package and sent it to Adolf Hitler. Novelty items like these were really common during World War II. Remember, we had 16 million men and women serving in the war. That put a lot of stress on all the folks back home.
Punchline lands with cash. Rick offers $60. The seller presses for $75, and Rick closes at $75. A tidy price for a showcase laugh that should flip fast. Chum jokes about mailing a pack to Adolf. Rick deadpans the obvious. Yeah, no one was shipping these to the Führer in '44. Quick buy, clean margins, display ready.
They put patriotic stuff all over them. Strike a match at the seat of trouble, buy war bonds. These matches are hilarious. I'll put them in the showcase and people will just buy them on impulse. But impulse buys got to be priced fairly low, so I can't pay an arm and a leg for them. All right, so do you want to pawn these, sell these?
I want to sell them.
Next, a Civil War jacket appears, donated with school theater costumes. The seller hopes it's real enough to fund the program. Rick's intrigued but cautious. Cavalry cut, correct look, but suspiciously pristine. No moth holes, no hardware. Too good to be true, sets off alarms, especially with reenactor repros everywhere. He calls in Mark to separate history from Halloween.
Well, got this uniform jacket in with some costumes. We do some high school productions, and we get donations in periodically. And with that came this Civil War jacket.
I mean, if it's real, it'll be really cool. I mean, it's from Civil War.
If I could get at least $500 out of it, if it is authentic, I think that would be a great find for us.
Rick adds a reality check for viewers. Civil War life was brutal. Sweat, mud, horses, and uniforms usually show it. This one's shockingly clean. If authentic, it's serious money. If costume, it's stage decor. The seller just wants funds for the wardrobe shop, so Rick promises a fair expert look before any numbers. Stakes quietly rise with every careful fold.
Should you know anything about it?
Actually, I don't. It was just in a bag of clothes that we got in, so I have no idea where it came from or any of the history on it.
You know, quite frankly, it doesn't shock me that someone would just throw this in a bag and donate it. You wouldn't believe the amount of stuff I buy off people that they just find in attics.
Sure.
Yeah, the Civil War was mud, it was sweat, it was horses. It's not nearly as romantic as they make it out in the movies.
A man arrives with an autographed Will Rogers limited edition volume. Rick lights up. Rogers signed all 250. Authentication isn't an issue. The seller paid $30 at a garage sale and dreams of $500. Corey side-eyes, mixing up Will with Roy before getting schooled. Vaudeville, radio, films, a columnist read by tens of millions. Americana, but book buyers can be slow.
Actually here to sell my Will Rogers book.
Isn't that the guy with the museum when we would drive to California? You'd always threaten to take me there or something?
No, that's Roy Rogers.
Oh, okay.
So how did you get it?
My neighbor down the street was having a garage sale, and I saw the book. I saw it was signed, and they only wanted $30 for it, so.
Rick delivers the context. Rogers was the post-Twain humor voice, and in 1920s limited editions, authors often signed whole runs. Values here, but condition and shelf time matter. He opens low at $100. The seller holds out. Corey positions the shop risk. Books sit. They inch toward middle ground as Corey nudges Dad's number up.
Ever heard the expression, never met a man I didn't like?
Yeah.
That was Will Rogers.
Oh, really?
He was an American humorist. He was an icon.
Okay.
We're talking the teens, the 20s, 30s, 40s, like that. He more or less replaced Mark Twain. Will Rogers was a cowboy who became a star on vaudeville, radio, and over 70 movies.
Deal lands at $200. The seller's happy to 6 times the garage sale find. Rick's happy with a signed icon. Corey's happy to needle Dad for being a reading nerd. It's a quiet win. Low cost, recognizable name, and a clean provenance story for the sales case. Not a bestseller, but not a bad buy, Rick quips.
It was really popular for authors to make limited editions of books. And I know that this book, they printed 250 of them because I had one years ago, and he signed every one of them. So I don't have to get the signature checked out. I know it's real because he signed every one of these books.
What's the note say, Pops?
Not a bestseller, but 5 years after Prohibition, it's hard to have a bestseller.
Expert time. Mark Hall Patton inspects the Civil War jacket. He checks materials, stitching, and inspector's marks, noting period-correct construction. Missing belt loops and no shoulder board scars are odd but not disqualifying. Civil War supply was chaotic, with lots of contractor variants. Mark leans in. This looks right for the model and era.
It looks too good to be true, so I invited my buddy Mark down to see what he could tell me about it.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm the administrator of the Clark County Museum System.
Well, this is it. This is what I called you about.
Okay. So, can you tell me how you came up with this?
Actually, it was donated with some costumes for a theater production. So we know absolutely nothing about it.
Verdict: authentic model. 1854 uniform jacket, likely behind the lines or surplus, hence the remarkable condition. Rick beams, the seller exhales. This is the green light the theater program hoped for. Mark leaves, and the counter morphs from history class to negotiation ring, with Rick already framing resale range versus shop risk.
Generally, when I see that, that's generally the case.
Yeah, and you're right to think that way. Anytime you have a Civil War uniform, anything like that, and it's in perfect shape, yes, you do want to question it. There are a lot of reproductions, there are a lot of costumes that have been made. In order to tell whether this is real, what I'm looking for is, what kind of materials they are, how they're put together. These are inspector's marks. That means that it was inspected as it came into the military.
Numbers fly. The seller hopes for $1,000. Rick anchors at $750 to cover fees, showtime, and carrying cost. After a beat, they meet at $850. The school gets funds. The shop gets a museum-grade jacket with a clean expert call. Rick grins. That's history right there. It's the kind of buy that draws customers to the case. Nostalgia and porcelain.
I really believe in an auction I can get $1,500, $2,000 out of this thing.
Wow, that's impressive.
But there's a lot of fees with an auction.
Well, sure.
And I have to make a little bit for my time, effort, risk. $750?
Go $850?
A 1940s Texaco sign hits the scale. The old man reminisces. Gas was cheap, cars were cars. Condition shows dings, but it presents well. The seller wants $1,000. The old man pushes $400, factoring restoration and the market's love of pristine. It's gruff, classic haggle theater with enamel edges.
Oh, I brought in my old porcelain Texaco sign from the 1940s.
Gas was cheap back then. You could take $1 and fill the car up.
That's crazy. It takes $60 to fill out my lowrider.
As far as I'm concerned, chummy, a lowrider is not a car. It's just some of that hippity-hop bull.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, oh, Jesus.
They settle at $500. Not a home run, but gas and oil decor always pulls foot traffic. Still paid too much? The old man grouses, his favorite victory lap. The seller's thrilled, already planning a road trip with the gas money. The sign's bound for a wall, not the stockroom. A quick-turn Americana piece.
Back in the day, 90% of our oil came out of Texas. When oil was discovered in Texas, the Texas Fuel Company was formed to sell crude oil to the refineries. They later shorted the name to Texaco.
So why are these signs so collectible?
It's part of Americana. They don't make them no more. Got some dings and bangs.
Late in the episode, a woman brings Teddy Ruxpin and Grubby with tapes. 1985 flashback. First mass-market animatronic storytellers. A legit Christmas craze that sparked mall fights. She wants $500 for the working pair. Corey's interested but cautious. Early nostalgia chatter doesn't equal today's price curve. He tests playback. Teddy sings, Grubby harmonizes, and everyone smirks.
That's Teddy Ruxpin and Grubby. You bought those for me when I was a kid.
Oh, I did?
Back in 1985, if you had these, you were the right? I mean...
Exactly, and I was only child, so they were like my friends, as like weird as that sounds.
Okay. These were cool. These were the first animated storytelling toys.
Corey prices the real market. Originals are better, but the wave isn't cresting yet. He opens at $100, stretches to $150, frank about framing time and demand slope. She decides to keep them for her kids. Fair call. Corey shrugs. They'll be back when the nostalgia graph spikes. For now, the bears leave with their original owner.
When Teddy Ruxpin first came out, it was the must-have Christmas gift of that year. These things were in such high demand that people were actually getting in fistfights in the middle of shopping malls over them. I think they were about $150 for the pair or something like that. It was really expensive for a toy in 1985. They are in good condition. Do they still work?
Yes, they do work.
The shop kicks off with a collector holding something straight out of Spy Legend, an original Goldfinger movie script from 1964. He says it came from none other than Harold Sakata, the actor who played Oddjob himself. Rick's eyes widen instantly. You're telling me this came from the man with the hat? If real, it's a slice of James Bond history worthy of Q's vault.
The guy that played Oddjob gave it to me.
I mean, if this was used by one of the franchise's best villains, it could be worth a lot of money. What do you got here?
I got this 1862 stamp.
Old stamps can be extremely valuable. The stamp is George Washington, and it's a very, very old one.
Sweet.
Meanwhile, another seller arrives with an antique toy treasure, a 1916 to 1920 Ives electric train set. He found it hidden in an attic of a 120-year-old house. Rick geeks out, explaining Ives went toe-to-toe with Lionel until the Great Depression crushed them. The old man jokes, Neil Young owns Lionel now. Rick laughs. Guy plays guitar and trains. The seller's smile says, yeah, I did my homework too.
I have a 1916 to 1920 Ives train set.
Pops, how come you never got me a toy this cool?
Because I never really loved you.
Rick inspects the train. No coal cart. Fully electric. Perfect for Pennsylvania's no coal zones back then. The seller wants $850. Firm. Rick offers $750, trying the classic soft push. The guy holds tight. You'll make your money back. Rick hates it when sellers know their worth. Finally, he caves. $850 deal. The old man chuckles. He gotcha. Rick sighs. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
They were able to retool their entire factory, and they became like one of the most popular train companies in the country. They were head-to-head with Lionel. And then, in 1929, Ives declared bankruptcy. They were taken over by Lionel.
Next, a man walks in clutching a coin-sized relic, an 1862 encased postage stamp with George Washington inside a brass frame. Chumley jokes. The seller found it in an old cash register as a kid. He wants quick cash to replace stolen band gear. Rick studies the inscription, White the Hatter, 216 Broadway, New York. This could be Civil War era money.
Hey, how you doing? What you got here?
I got this 1862 postage stamp.
Wow, it's almost as old as the old man.
So where in the world did you get this?
Well, when I was a kid, I went to a hardware store with my dad.
Rick knows encased stamps can be insanely rare if the stamp isn't damaged, but someone trimmed this one to fit the brass ring, maybe killing its value. Could be junk, could be gold, Rick mutters. He calls expert Dana from early American history auctions, praying this thing's real. If this is legit, Rick says, we're looking at Civil War wallet money.
My big concern is it's been put in this thing. It looks like they had to trim the stamp down to put it in this case, and I don't know how much it's going to be worth this damaged. So let me get someone in here, he'll take a look at it, and they can tell us what it's worth.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Another customer pulls up outside, behind the wheel of a 1980 Datsun 280 ZX 10th Anniversary Edition. Rick recognizes it immediately. That's the car in 1980. The seller boasts of a smooth 80-mile ride down from Mesquite, but when the engine starts, it sputters like popcorn. Rick frowns. Doesn't sound right. Time to call Fatback, the shop's mechanic.
It's just an awesome car to drive. Back in the day, this is the car everybody wanted. This is a piece of history here.
Yeah, I mean, this was the car in 1980. I mean, I remember thinking this was cool. It was right around 15 grand new.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of money back then. The same thing as like a Lincoln Continental would cost.
The seller's asking $28,000. Rick nearly laughs. Dude, that's a waste of time. He pegs it at $4,000, tops. The guy grudgingly agrees, but only if it checks out. Fatback takes it around the block, and minutes later delivers a hammer blow. Transmission slips, exhaust leaks, sounds like a popcorn machine. Rick cancels. Seller fumes. You bailed on me. Rick shrugs. Better than buying a lemon.
He agreed to sell it to me for $4 grand, but the engine sounded a little funny. So before I hand over the cash, I asked one of my guys, who's also a mechanic, to come outside and take a closer look.
What did you want me to check out?
I just want to make sure there's no major problems with it.
Back inside, the Goldfinger script takes center stage again. Rick opens it. Final draft, 1964. All pages intact. The seller confirms Oddjob gifted it to him decades ago. Rick grins. So no lines marked? Seller laughs. He didn't have lines, just grunts. Chumley can't resist. I'll play him. No talking. Rick groans. Stop acting. Chum deadpans. I'm acting. Chaos ensues. The seller asks $1,000. Rick counters $500. It's Bond, but not Connery signed.
What do you got?
I've got a screenplay from 1964. It's the final draft of Goldfinger.
Oh, I love Austin Powers. Let me see it.
Goldfinger, not Goldmember. It was a movie back in the 60s with Sean Connery was James Bond.
The seller nods instantly. Deal. Chumley beams. That's half off, baby. Rick smirks. That's called negotiation, not robbery. As the seller leaves, he jokes that Chum could play Oddjob next time. Rick loses it laughing. Perfect. No lines required.
Kept the bowler hat, which I would have liked.
That's what I would want. Goldfinger came out in 1964 and was the third James Bond movie. The other movies were successful, but this one made James Bond an international icon.
Dana arrives to evaluate the Civil War stamp token. He explains these encased postage stamps replaced coins during the 1861 currency shortage. John Galt patented them and sold ad space on the backs. This one's White the Hatter, a rare merchant. Dana admires the intact lettering and bright color. These were only made for 3 months, he notes. Yours? Pretty special. Rick's eyes go wide.
But it's inserted in a strange case, and it may have been cut to fit in it. So I called my buddy Dana down to take a closer look.
What do we have here?
I imagine that was sort of like a trade token of some sort.
So that's basically what your concern is on it?
I just have no idea. The stamp is really, really damaged being put in that coin thing.
Dana calls it extremely fine condition, estimating $4,000 to $6,000 at auction. Rick grins like a kid on Christmas. The seller asks $4,500. Rick offers $2,000, then edges up to $2,300. They shake. Seller's thrilled. He's buying new guitar gear tonight. Rick's already picturing the display case. Civil War currency, minty Washington edition.
The stamp is nicely well centered, and it's also pretty bright. And most importantly, the case is untampered with, and it has really good detail on all the lettering, and I would call it extremely fine quality overall.
The next arrival wheels in nostalgia on 3 tires, an 1800s tricycle supposedly over a century old. The seller swears it's been in her family forever. The old man teases Rick. You'd look good riding that. Rick's skeptical. Vinyl seat, welded joints, modern bolts. This screams reproduction, he mutters. The woman insists it's antique.
And where did you get that?
From my mom's basement. It's been in her family for over 100 years.
Hey, Rick, why don't you go try it out?
Sure it's been in her family for over 100 years?
Yes.
Rick breaks it down gently. Pedals don't connect, axles coast only, and the frame's mismatched. He concludes it's likely a decorative replica from decades later. The seller's crestfallen. You sure? Rick nods. If it rode, I'd buy it, but it's porch art. No offer made. She storms off, muttering, he's wrong. The old man just smirks.
They were considered way more upper class than bicycle. Part of it being that they considered them much more comfortable to ride. I'm just glad things changed, because seeing Lance Armstrong win the Tour de France on a tricycle is just something I don't want to see.
Cut to the finale. Chumley channels his inner Bond, dramatically reenacting Goldfinger at the counter. Choose your next witness carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last. Everyone bursts out laughing. Rick wipes tears. That's actually better than your acting earlier.
This man has to make mistakes.
Goldfinger, choose your next witness carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last. The name is Lee. Chumley.
The episode opens with fire right out the gate. A sleek 1964 Austin Healey Sprite rolls up, gleaming like a toy car. Rick can't resist the charm, calling it a Hot Wheels you can drive. The seller admits it's temperamental. He barely fits in it, but it's clean and rare. Asking price? $10,000. Rick's eyebrows shoot up. You sure this isn't just decoration?
Damn, the thing looks like a Hot Wheels.
There's no way I could get in this thing with the top on. My head would pop through the roof.
So where'd you get this thing?
Well, I had a friend of mine that gave it to me about 10 years ago before he passed away.
Rick's curious. He cranks the ignition. Nothing. Dead. The guy insists he drove it there. Rick frowns. You sure you didn't push it here? The tension's thick. Chum snickers in the background. Seller blames the battery, but the car's silence kills the momentum. Rick drops the offer, $4,000, cash now. The man hesitates, knowing Rick smells blood.
There's fan clubs all over the place, and that makes them easy to sell. How does it run?
It runs. It seems to need a tune-up. These carburetors are a little tricky. You need to adjust them once in a while.
Mind if I start it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Negotiation heat builds fast. The seller shoots back. How about 9? Rick smirks. You're dreaming. Rick sticks firm at $5,000, flashing bills. After a pause, the seller nods. Deal done. Cash talks. Rick grins. He plans to flip it after a tune-up, not realizing this little British beauty's about to become his biggest headache of the season.
Okay, so you drove this here.
Yeah, I drove it here. I think the battery's dead.
I've seen many of these cars before, and they can be pretty temperamental, so I'm not that worried that it doesn't start. Okay, so do you want to pawn it or sell it?
I want to sell it.
How much you want for it?
Next customer strolls in lugging an antique diving helmet that looks straight out of a Jules Verne novel. Rick's instantly hooked. These things are so cool, people fake them. The seller says it came from his wife's Navy collector uncle. Rick's impressed by the patina, but notices electric weld marks, wrong for the 1800s. Could be restored, or could be fake. Suspense builds.
At least give me some money to go towards, Winchester or something like that.
Can you tell me where you got this thing?
It came from my wife's side of the family. She had an uncle who was in the Navy, and he collected memorabilia.
Do you know anything about it?
Really don't. It's got to be pretty old. It's been well used.
Rick calls in expert Rod from West Sea Company, 35 years in nautical antiques. Rod circles the piece like a shark, noting its riveted copper-top design. This was handmade before metal spinning existed, he explains. Men stood on the seafloor in weighted boots while diving in these. Rick winces. Imagine being the first guy to test that thing. Rod just laughs. Danger was part of the job.
I love the things. Every time I see a nautical antique, my heart starts to flutter. What are your concerns about this, Rick?
First off, is it real? We got parts of these things that are lead soldered together.
Rod finally delivers the verdict. It's real. One of the earliest American diving helmets, around 1865 to 1870. Rick's jaw drops. No way. Value? $15,000? Easy. Rick's thrilled, until negotiation time. He offers $7,000. The seller grins. 10. Rick fires back. 8 and an antique rifle. The man laughs, then shakes. Deal. Rick just scored a relic and cleared shelf space for that old gun.
There was no telling whether that guy was ever going to come up from the bottom once he went down.
I can just imagine the guy whose job it was to test these things out for the first time. I imagine it's what Chumley would have done if he was alive 150 years ago.
Before the dust settles, another customer drops in holding what looks like Civil War Monopoly money. Chum's skeptical. You printing your own cash, bro? Turns out it's fractional currency, small paper notes used when coins were melted for war materials. The old man schools Chum on rag paper made from used clothes. See those fibers? That's 1800s cotton. Chum's eyes widen, so does his respect.
This guy's trying to sell us Monopoly money. You better come take a look at it.
Oh, God. Chumley.
No, not exactly. I did a little research on them.
What you got is the last series of fractional currency that was ever printed. They made it back in the Civil War on up to 1874.
The bills are crisp, uncirculated, and rare, but not rare enough. The old man explains they're common 5th series notes. Retail, maybe $50 each. I'll give you $20. The seller frowns, declines, and walks. Chum shrugs. Guess I'll never be a banker. The old man smirks. No, son, you'll never balance a checkbook either.
And I see all of them have lots of little scratches on the back. What do you think those are from?
That's not scratches. That's in the paper. It's called rag paper. A lot of it was made out of used clothing, so they called it rag paper.
Cut to jewelry drama. A man swaggers in with a 2006 Miami Heat championship ring sparkling with diamonds. Guaranteed to get attention, he brags. Rick's instantly intrigued. I love championship rings. The seller drops a bomb, $20,000. Rick nearly chokes. Not a chance. He explains it's a trainer's ring, not a player's. Half the value, half the glamour.
What do you got here?
I've got a Miami Heat 06 championship ring.
Are you sure Heat won a championship?
I'm sure. Guaranteed.
Where in the world did you get this?
I bought it 3 years ago from a collector. He got it from the trainer.
They haggle hard. Seller pleads for $14,000. Rick holds firm at $9,000 cash on the counter. The man storms out. When I sell it for $20, you'll regret it. Rick smiles. Maybe, but I won't regret keeping $9 grand in my pocket. The door slams and Chum chuckles. Dude, you scared him off. Rick smirks. No, I saved myself.
I mean, it's a nice ring, but Super Bowl rings, staff rings, and player rings are the same ring.
Really?
Same exact ring, okay?
You know, with the basketball rings, there's only 15 players.
A few hours later, the ring guy returns, tail between his legs. I'll take the 9. Rick just grins. Vegas always wins. Cash changes hands, and everyone laughs. Rick's patience pays off again. Funny how a little thinking changes your price, he jokes. The old man mutters, 9 grand in, maybe 20 out. Pawn shop victory achieved.
I'm gonna sell you the ring for $9,000.
I'm sure it's still in there, man.
But I'll tell you what, when you sell it for probably 18, 20, just remember my face.
This happens more often than you would think.
Rick's celebration doesn't last long. Wally, his mechanic, calls with bad news about the Austin Healey. Rick braces himself. Tell me it's just the battery. Wally grimaces. Crankshaft's shot. You're 6 grand deep in repairs. Rick's face drops. That's the heart of the engine. It's official. The 5 grand deal just became a financial nightmare.
Oh, pretty good.
All right.
So what's the verdict?
Unfortunately, I've got some bad news for you, Rick.
What's wrong with it?
It has spun main bearings, it's rattling. You see that right there? That's a crankshaft. The journals on it are the round section.
Rick hauls the car back to the shop, dreading the conversation with the old man. When he finally breaks the news, the explosion's immediate. You paid how much for a dead car? Rick tries to justify it. I thought it just needed a tune-up. Corey's laughing so hard he can't breathe. Nice job, McMechanic.
A few days ago, I bought an Austin Healey, and when I brought it in for a tune-up, I was told it's going to cost more to repair than what it's worth. As if that's not bad enough, now I have to break the news to the old man.
What do you mean you got bad news?
It needs a new engine, and we're screwed.
The old man's fuming. When I make a mistake, you're all over my ass. You screw up, it's oops. Rick grins sheepishly. Difference is, I'm 45. Corey pipes up. You just bought a 5 grand lesson, Dad. Rick nods. Yeah, I did. It's a humbling and hilarious moment of karma for the pawn boss.
45 years old.
I don't give a damn how old you are. If I take and make a mistake here, you're all over my ass.
I just find this hilarious that you're sitting there, I'm 45 years old, I don't have to explain myself to anybody.
The episode explodes straight into pure insanity. Rick's face when a guy rolls up with an actual one-man submarine is priceless. The seller casually says, I wanted 25 grand, and Rick just blinks. You do realize we're in the middle of a desert, right? This thing looks like a Cold War prop that crash-landed in Vegas, and somehow Rick's already thinking profit.
So what do we have here?
A one-man submarine.
What is this? I thought we were coming to look at a sandwich.
Yeah, it's not a submarine sandwich. All right, I got to admit, this is the first time anyone's brought a submarine to my shop.
The seller explains he got it for free. Someone literally told him to take it off their lawn. Rick's brain short circuits. You mean this $100,000 toy was yard trash? The sub's corroded, missing parts, and looks like Poseidon's junkyard. Still, Rick can't resist the gamble. It's been sitting outside forever, he mutters. But I'll make it work.
They're used by the Navy for patrolling shallow water. But this thing looks like it was designed for civilian use. Yeah, that doesn't look very comfortable.
How's this thing work?
Basically, you put this in the water. This whole outer thing is different ballast tanks. You would let water go into them. Then you become heavier than water.
Then the numbers drop. Seller wants $25,000. Rick nearly laughs him out of the store. You're asking submarine prices in Nevada. The guy shrugs. There's lakes. Rick offers $2,000. The man counters. They haggle fast. Rick bumps to $3,000, sealing the deal. He grins. Don't tell the old man. It's the pawn shop's first sub, and definitely not the smartest buy.
This is my problem. I have no idea what it would cost to fix this thing up. You know, I would offer you a few $1,000s, and I don't think you're going to take that.
Maybe I would.
I'll give you $2 grand for it.
Can't do that. You can go higher, a little higher.
You got to realize what you're looking at. It's
Cut to the old man finding out. You bought what? Rick smirks. A submarine. Corey chimes in. It costs $10,000 an hour just to test one. The old man roars, we don't buy boats. Rick, it's not a boat. It's a submarine. Silence. The look on the old man's face says it all. Corey just laughs. That was a stupid buy.
Hey, what? Ricky!
Yeah?
Come here.
What?
You bought a submarine?
Yeah.
You know it costs like $10,000 an hour just to test to see if one of those things work?
It doesn't work.
Before the laughter dies, Corey and Rick get a break. A man brings in a 1778 Revolutionary War officer's commission, signed parchment, elegant calligraphy, real history. Corey's interested but cautious. I can't read half of it. The S's look like F's. Rick geeks out, explaining the colonial penmanship quirks. Anything from the Revolutionary War can be worth a lot, he says, eyes gleaming.
So where'd you get this?
I bought it in an auction.
How'd you pay for it?
$10.
Okay. It makes sense they did it in December because everybody kind of took a break during the winter back then. And during 1778, we weren't doing that well in the war.
The seller's clueless about the signatures, so Corey calls in expert Dana Lynette. Dana inspects it carefully, then drops history gold. It's signed by Meshach Ware, the first president of the United States. Everyone freezes. Corey stammers, "Wait, not of the United States?" Dana clarifies, "Of New Hampshire." Rick bursts out laughing. So, a state president. Still cool, still rare.
Earlier, a guy brought in a document from the Revolutionary War. It's got signatures on it, but no one I really recognize, so I called my buddy Dana to come down and check it out. Hey, what's going on, Dana?
Hi, Corey.
How you going?
Good.
That's what I called you about.
I specialize in early American documents, autographs.
Dana appraises it at $1,000. The seller wants $500, Corey offers $250, and they settle at $350. Profit secured, lesson learned. Early America still prints money. Rick brags, "Nice call, son. That's one smart thing you did today." Corey grins. "And one submarine you didn't."
In 1776.
First president in the United States, not of, in.
So he'd pretty much be what we would call a governor today.
Yes.
What's something like this go for?
Then a mini miracle. Rick and Corey check out a Model T parade car powered by a lawnmower engine. The thing looks ridiculous, but runs like a dream. The seller asks $1,000. Rick offers $600, but the man refuses. "It's been in the family forever." Rick shrugs. "Then keep it," Corey smirks. "Guess you're not the only sentimental one today."
Parade car.
I don't see how it's a Model T when it's got a Chevy symbol on the front of it.
Well, you know, I'm a Chevy guy, so the Ford Emblem had to go.
Okay, so tell me what you know about it.
It was bought from Sears, out of the catalog.
Comic relief follows. A man brings in a spittoon from the Goldfield Hotel, complete with a century of gross history. Rick calls it a bucket of germs and gives a crash course on the 1918 flu epidemic that killed the spittoon industry. The guy wants $75. Rick offers $50. "You can keep the spit for free," he jokes, sealing a deal no one wants to touch.
And if you were inside a hotel or something and you had a mouthful of dip, you needed to spit it somewhere.
How's it smelling there?
I don't know, why don't you tell me?
It looks like it's straight from the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, this was for inside hotel lobbies, train stations, stores.
Then comes every collector's dream. R2-D2 himself standing in the shop, a Pepsi promo cooler from the Star Wars 20th anniversary. The old man melts instantly. He's cuter than hell. The seller asks $600. The old man offers $300, then sweetens it to $500 because he loves it. The guy refuses, too attached. The old man sighs, should have used the force.
How'd you acquire this, sir?
A buddy of mine worked for a convenience store when they were doing the 20th anniversary of the Star Wars trilogy, and he knew I was a big fan, so he just gave it to me.
Finally, Rick brings in an expert to judge his new pride and joy, the Submarine. The specialist circles it, unimpressed. Looks like scrap iron. Rick forces a smile. Aluminum, actually. The expert explains it's a Sea Urchin 2, built in 1994 by Canadian engineers, later used by an Australian film crew called Quest. "You've got the sequel," he says dryly.
Battle was used by the American colonies against the British. It was called the Turtle, and it had two big pieces of wood pumping water in and out to make it go up and down, and he tried to sink a couple British ships. This particular sub was built in 1994 by a group of Canadian sub builders.
Then comes the gut punch. It'll cost $100,000 to restore. The old man explodes. "Scrap the damn thing." Rick groans. "I can sell it as a fixer-upper." Corey snarks. "To who? Aquaman?" Rick glares but clings to hope. The expert stays quiet, building suspense before delivering the final blow, or miracle. The expert finally cracks a grin. As it sits, parts and hull are worth about $10,000. Rick's jaw drops. Corey's does too. Rick puffs his chest. "Told you it was worth something."
And its hydrodynamics allow it to be efficient underwater. But the problem with this design is that it's really difficult to stay with your head lifted and operate for any extended period of time. It's very uncomfortable. It's missing its upper viewing dome and a lot of the parts.
The old man scoffs. "You got lucky." Not smart. Rick grins wider. I'll take Lucky all day. Classic Pawn Stars. Triumph. The old man's still not impressed. We're supposed to make money on everything. Rick smirks. We did. Corey laughs. Barely. Rick demands an apology. The old man fires back. Be a cold day in hell. Corey adds. Might snow in Vegas first. Rick just grins. Still counts. Perfect comedic ending.
The value of the sub as it sits is $10,000. Some sub builders could use the parts, including the pressure hull, for building another sub.
Really? Eat crow, guys, every one of you. I knew it had to be worth something.